Should you watch Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, whatever that is? Is it a good movie, or is it actually the bomb that many headlines are making it out to be? Well, that depends on who you are and what you are looking to get out of a movie. So without spoilers, let's figure out if this movie is well suited for you and how you can unlock the most enjoyment out of it. Because there is a way to go into this movie that sets you up for failure. And there's another way to go into it that could deliver a meaningful experience. I know the buzz you've heard about this film. The trailer is bad. The previous indie film was bad. It's probably not going to make its money back at the box office. Fans are split on this film. They either love it or they hate it. And that leads me to theorize that what people look for in a movie might be playing a role in the mixed opinions, the two extremes here. So what type of moviegoer are you? Are you type 1? Someone who is looking for strong action and special effects, a popcorn flick? If so, your experience might look a bit like this. Imagine you're watching your favorite football team play, and in this particular game, the quarterback just isn't quite himself. He's not making a lot of the throws he normally makes. Maybe your team still wins, but the whole game is just kind of grueling to watch. And later, you find out the quarterback was playing with an injury the whole time. Well, that's kind of like what this movie is because, well, Harrison Ford is older now and he did actually injure himself while filming this movie. Ford actually injured his shoulder and he had to sit out of filming for 2 months. No, he wasn't throwing a football, but there is a noticeable lack of punches thrown in the back half of this film by Indy. While Harrison Ford was pushing to do more stunts, the director James Mangold repeatedly had to tell him, no, not this one, the stunt guy's got to do this one. And you have to think that played a role in the writing. They can't ask an old man to do the things that a younger man could do. So that already put the film in a bind when it comes to serving the action film connoisseur. Watching this movie, for an action person, is kind of like watching the 2015 Super Bowl, where Peyton Manning led the Denver Broncos to a championship, but it was clear that he could barely throw the ball in that game. The end was near! He couldn't even throw the ball like he could the previous season, but they found a way to grind it out and win the Super Bowl. So it was still a win, but it wasn't pretty. Doesn't mean there wasn't some enjoyment to be had. That's not to say this film isn't worth watching either, because there's a couple great action scenes and an intelligently designed chase scene that took a lot of planning and does not involve CGI ants or animals. But don't expect the hero-focused action of the other indie films, or you will walk away underwhelmed. But there is another lens to appreciate this movie through. If you're a moviegoer type 2, someone who cares less about action and more about meaningful character moments and character transformation, the most interesting way to watch this film is by focusing on the psychological and spiritual journey of Indy and Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character, Helena. Bet you didn't think you'd be coming to an indie film for a spiritual journey, did you? Both have an arc that revolves around this question: what makes life meaningful? When the world moves on without you, how do you continue to live and find purpose? How do you cope with it? Tell me if this sounds familiar. TikTok comes out a few years ago, right? All the kids are on it, but you feel overwhelmed by it. It's too fast-paced, it's crazy. You either never signed up for it, or when you did, you had trouble figuring out what to do with the platform and your account just kind of went by the wayside. Then AI comes out and you feel even more overwhelmed. Skynet's going to kill us. The world is moving too fast, and that leaves you feeling left behind. Welcome to Indiana Jones's character journey in this movie. Indy's journey in this film starts in a lonely place. We see him giving his last lecture as a college professor, and none of the students seem to care. He's no longer an interesting person to them. He's a relic, left behind as the world moves on. He feels useless at his work, and when he comes home, there's nobody there. He lives alone in a tiny apartment. And he's dealing with old age, which is hard enough to cope with in itself. There are some signs that suggest he may just want to disappear. How does one continue to live like that? Helena is also on a journey to find purpose, but she just isn't aware of it at first. And her arc isn't fully developed, but it's there. If you look hard enough, you'll see it, and you can trace this theme through both of those characters all the way to the end of the movie, which is quite interesting. And that's what makes this indie film different than the previous films. That's actually what might make it jarring and disappointing to some fans. It's not as much about the action as it is about the spiritual and psychological journey. It'll be introspective and meaningful if you let it. So, which type of moviegoer are you? An action fanatic or someone who loves following the characters through some kind of transformation? Maybe you'll get lucky and you'll find a little of both in this film. Let me know in the comments if I convinced you to go watch this movie, or if what I told you makes you even less interested in it. This channel is all about analyzing films for deep, often spiritual meanings. So if you're into that sort of thing, hit like and subscribe, because we love talking with you and unlocking the deeper meanings of movies so we can understand them more and appreciate them more. So, I will see you next time, and yeah, there's probably never gonna be an Indiana Jones film again, but hey, at least we ended on a better note than the Crystal Skull. I guarantee you're gonna enjoy it more than that film. I'm 80% sure. I'll see you next time.